Today we're going to talk about the compound interest formula and specifically what compound interest is. I'm not worried a whole lot about going into this very deeply because I don't feel like it's going to show up on the GED test. But if it does, I want you to be familiar with the formula and what compound interest is. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and give you the formula. Those of you that have been following me probably saw this on Thursday's video. We're going to talk about it again, what each one of these pieces mean. A is the ending balance, the final balance after everything happens. A is the ending balance. P is the beginning balance. They will use words like invested this much, or borrowed this much. The beginning balance. Okay, 1 is simply the number 1. It will always appear right there. R is the interest rate. You'll change a percentage to a decimal to work this problem. N is the number. This is the thing that's new. Number of interest periods per year. Okay, and this N and this N are the very same. If a letter appears more than once in a formula, it's the same letter. And you use the same values for that. T is the number of years. And again, a reminder that if it's compounded interest for 6 months, you do not use 6 here. You use 1/2 because 6 months is 1/2 of a year. You have to change your months into years. Okay, so don't use 6 here. That means 6 years. 6 months is 1/2 of a year. So this looks kind of crazy right here. I want to make sure you get all the information down. If you don't have it yet, you probably want to snap a picture of it. I'm getting ready to erase. Okay, if I can find the eraser. I cleaned the board, moved everything. Just like cleaning the house, if I put stuff where it belongs, I can't find it. I'm going to leave the formula up here and we're going to go to our worksheet and look at number 1, see how this works. Now again, it's an involved equation, not hard when I show you how to work it, but you will need your calculator. trying to find some different colors. Not working. Okay. So the very first one, you guys see where we are? We're on the compound interest worksheet. Number 1 says you invested $52,400. Okay, invested, we said that's the beginning balance. So we have $52,400. And if that is invested, then that is A. That's our beginning balance. Then it says 6% interest rate. So that's our R. 5 years. So that's our time. And they want to know, oh, good heavens, Deborah. Sorry. This is the original. My bad. And then it says, what is your total return on this investment? So they want to know the A. Now notice in simple interest, what we always found was I. We found the interest and then we had to add it back to what we borrowed or what we invested, right? In this case, in the compounded interest, it gives you the entire balance at the end. So this isn't just interest, but they've done all the work for you and this will be the final balance. If you invested, then this is how much you will earn, what the balance will be in your savings account after a certain amount of time. If you borrowed money, this will tell you how much total that you have to pay back. Okay, so we're going to use our calculator and we're going to work very carefully here. Let's plug in everything. A, we don't know. Equals, we know that what P is. This is our beginning balance. Equals, notice that I'm just, good heavens, it's Monday. Y'all have seen it before, haven't you? 1, I am just copying this down piece by piece. And the values that go in here. 1, now I'm copying a plus. Then I'm going to copy the rate over the N. Now the rate we said was 6%. We have to change that to a decimal so that we can use the calculator. So we remember we move the decimal twice to the left. Makes it 0.06. So here the rate is going to be 0.06 over N. Now N is the one that you have to be careful about because this is what's new in compounded interest. It says it's compounded annually. That means they only figure the interest one time in a year. So N in this case is going to be 1. Compounded annually. So they're only going to figure interest once in a year. So this is over 1. The number of compounded periods is 1, the same as here, times, and T, they said, what's the balance at the end of 5 years? So T is 5. Now, all we have to do is solve this. And what's cool is the A is already by itself, so we just have to do this math. Okay? So we're going to use our order of operations that I've taught you before, and that means we have to do what's in the parentheses first. Now, the easiest way to do this, since this is a plus, is take 0.06 and divide by 1 and get that answer and add it to 1. Okay, do the fraction and add it to 1. So under here, we have 1.06 is what you're going to get. Multiply the exponent, which is to the 5th power. 52,400. When they're crammed together, this is multiply, equals A. So in our order of operations, the next thing we do, these parentheses around one number is not the parentheses that they're talking about in the order of operations. The parentheses has to have more than one thing in it to be the please on the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is exponent. 1.06 to the 5th power. Do y'all know how to do that on your calculator? To the 5th power. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to put in 1.06, and then there's a button on the left-hand side like this. We call it a carrot top, but it takes a number to a power, okay? To the power of 5. And when you look on your screen, it actually shows it the correct way. Y'all see? And press enter. Let's go to the nearest hundredth. Round to the nearest hundredth, so I get 1.34 for this answer times 52,400. Now we just multiply those. And so our ending balance, we invested, so this is money we're making. So the ending balance after 5 years in our savings account should be $70,216. Now, I don't know if they, okay, they did not round their number. Okay, so let's do this again. When we came here, I'll show you how to get the answer on the back. When we rounded here, let's do that again. 1.06, excuse me, to the 5th power. Now leave that on your screen. Leave the entire number. So we had 338225578. That's all that shows on the screen. There's probably more. Leave that on the screen and say times this, and you'll see the difference the answer makes from rounding or using the entire number. And that gives us the exact answer. The exact answer is 70,123. And now they round it, 02. They round it to money. And this is what's in the answers. So really with a calculator, it's not too bad. If I start to explain it all, it sounds blah, blah. But when you sit down to do it,
Yes, it does.
right. I think we should do one more. But here is the difference. Whether you round a number before you get to the final, look how much difference there is. Like $7. $7. Okay, so when they figure this at the bank or credit union or whatever, they're going to use the entire number. because they actually have it in as a formula. So are there any questions about how we got this? Are your eyes bugging out? Just a,
Almost.
just a little bit. Are you guys okay online?
I lost you on the third row.
Yes.
Yeah, I lost you kind of halfway through because I had to get the kids' coats and stuff on, so it looks
Okay,
kind of
well,
scary.
we're getting ready to do another one.
Okay.
I got lost on the third A.
The third A right here.
Yeah. But I'm okay there.
That's okay. We're going to do another one now that you've seen it.
Okay.
Okay. And that will help Sherry because she was helping children get their coats on for school and missed part of it. So let's just, do you see another one or should we just go to 2? Just do number 2?
So in the 1.5, you add that one, or did we get it?
The 1 point,
Yeah. The one right there.
I did 1.6, didn't I?
Oh, did it was 6? Oh, that's why.
1.06 to the, oh,
Right here.
yeah, multiply that, that's 5.
Okay.
That's how we got 1.06 to the 5th power. Okay, do this, put a 5 right there. Good, okay. If you need to wait, I've got some. Okay.
Yeah, I have a drive.
Yeah, I've got some good stuff. Okay. We're going to look at number 2, and then y'all can go back and look at this again. I want you to know what all this stuff means and how to put it in your calculator. Don't get freaked out. You don't have to remember this formula. If they do ask you, they will give you the formula. All right. You do not have to memorize it. I don't know that it's on the formula chart. Okay, it said you borrowed $10,400. So which letter is that? I borrowed 10,000.
P.
P, good. P equals $10,400. For 4 years, what's 4?
10. No, type.
Time, good.
And a T.
I've got some people on top of it.
Yes.
Yes. At 12%, 12.7%. What is that?
The rate.
That's the rate. 12.7%. And the interest is compounded semi-annually. What does that tell us?
Annually, so will be the rate.
How many times is the interest compounded? What?
I'm not sure.
Okay, try.
A. The ending balance.
It is the number of times the interest is compounded. So what's semi-annually? Semi means I divided it in half.
Divide.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay.
Every 2 years.
N stands for how many times in 1 year, okay? So if they say semi-annually, how many times do they compound it in 1 year? Remote people? Semi-annually
Every
is
2 years.
Every year.
2 times
2 times.
every year. 2 times. I think, Isabel, biannually, I think would be every 2 years.
It's like weekly and then by 2 times and then it's semi. It's
Half. Uh-huh. So 2 times every year. So our N says that they're going to compound this interest 2 times in 1 year. Okay, everybody okay? So the only letter left out of that is A. So the last sentence says, what is the total you will pay back? In this case, we borrowed money. So A is going to be what we have, that's the ending balance or what the bank's going to want back, right? So A equals, I'm going to start to plug in and just plug in where all of this stuff belongs. So I have 10,400. Then I have a parentheses, 1 plus R. Now, what did we decide about R?
4%.
Yes, I have to make it into a decimal.
Oh,
So I've got 0.127 over, what is in? 2. N is 2 again, same thing, times T. What's T?
she is 4 years.
T is what?
4.
4. You're
Per
exactly right.
year.
They want to know at the end of 4 years. Okay, is everybody with me?
Yes.
Mhm.
I want you to see what this means, then see how to work it, and be done. Okay? So again, A is by itself. And so we work the parentheses first. Now, in this particular case, let's do this. 0.127 divided by 2, and then add the 1 onto it. So I have 0.127 divided by 2 equals plus 1. Okay, let's use the whole number. So now I have 1.0635 to the 8th power. Is everybody with me to this point? And so we do exponents next. So we're going to take the number that's already on the screen. You don't have to erase it. You can actually leave it there and say to the power of 8. Now we found out that we're going to leave the entire decimal there. Who is it? Okay. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Thanks for bringing it upstairs. I appreciate you. Thank you. Mhm.
How did you get the 8 from the?
I did the 2 times 4. It says to take whatever N is times T. So I took 2 times 4, gives me the 8. Good, I'm glad you're asking these questions. So when I took this number to the power of 8, it leaves a long decimal on your screen. Let's leave that decimal because we found out the rounding gets us a little off. So we're going to use the entire decimal and say, I'm going to go ahead and put it here so you know what we're doing. 1.6364395 times 10,400. So leave that on your screen and say times 10,400. because now we're doing this piece. And our answer is, now we're going to round to money. And this is how much money we will pay back to the bank for using 10,000 of their dollars. We're going to pay back 17,000 after how many years? 4 years, after 4 years.
4 years.
This is if your interest is compounded. So just a side note, if you're going to invest money, compounded interest is pretty cool.
What compound means?
That means, see, simple interest, they just figure one formula to the end of the year. But with compounded interest, they have one amount, they figure interest and add it on, figure more interest and add it on, figure more interest and add it on. And that's why this is larger than if you would just do simple interest with this. Okay, so compounded interest is not so good if you're, but it's pretty good if you're saving money, because they're figuring how much interest they're going to pay you, and they add that on to your balance, and then they figure out the interest on that one and add it on. Then they figure the interest on this one, which makes it build up faster. Okay, unless you have questions, this is all I'm going to do on compounded interest.
¿Cómo? Sería así,